Let's be totally honest for a second. If you're a parent, you already know the struggle is incredibly real. We all want the absolute best for our kids, right? But in the heat of a frustrating moment, maybe you just walked into a room and toys are literally scattered everywhere, or a full glass of milk has just shattered all over the kitchen floor, that urge to just raise your voice can feel almost impossible to resist. Listen, you are definitely not alone in feeling this way. But it begs a really important question. Is it actually possible to raise confident kids without resorting to shouting? Well, the research and the strategies we're looking at today tell us that the answer is a resounding yes. Welcome to This Explainer. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to be your guide today as we unpack some truly transformative, positive parenting strategies straight from our source material. Think of me as your advisor here. We're going to walk through practical, real-life examples that you can literally start using in your home today. The big focus? We're going to look at how shifting our mindset away from just controlling our kids' behavior and moving toward building a deep, mutual connection with them completely changes the entire dynamic of parenting.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover connection instead of control, encourage, don't just praise, remembering behavior is not the child, co-regulating before disciplining, logical consequences over punishments, and repairing after you stumble. Okay, let's dive into this and fill up your parenting toolkit.
Starting off with Section 1, connection instead of control, building the foundation. Everything we discuss today requires one fundamental shift right out of the gate. We have to move away from forcibly controlling behavior and move toward building connection. Because when kids feel safe and understood, cooperation and self-assurance just naturally follow. Connection is the soil where confidence grows. And that brings us to our first specific strategy in Section 2. Encourage, don't just praise. The subtle difference. Now, I know this shift sounds minor, but trust me, it creates a massive difference in a child's mindset. Let's contrast these two directly. Praise focuses heavily on the outcome or a fixed trait. Think of phrases we use all the time without even thinking, like, "You're so smart," or "Good job getting an A." Now, while that is totally well-intentioned, our source actually tells us this can trigger anxiety in kids. Why? Because if they're praised just for being smart, they start to worry they won't be smart next time if they happen to struggle. They start stressing about future perfection. Encouragement, on the flip side, focuses entirely on the process, the effort, and the specific actions they took. Take a look at this quote right from the source material. "I noticed how hard you worked on that drawing, especially how you mixed the colors." And this brilliantly illustrates the power of encouragement. Instead of just tossing out a quick, "What a pretty picture, you're a great artist," you're actually highlighting their hard work. This teaches a child that their true value comes from their persistence, their effort, and the choices they make. And the best part? Those are all things they can actually control. Moving right along to Section 3. Behavior is not the child, separating identity from actions. Just a gentle coach's reminder here. Kids are going to mess up a lot, but they need to know they aren't inherently bad when they're being corrected. Look at this side-by-side comparison. Instead of blurting out, "You are lazy," or "You're being bad," we need to shift to something more like, "That choice wasn't great." When kids believe they are inherently bad, it literally acts like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Their self-esteem drops through the floor, and guess what? They start acting out even more. But when they know they are fundamentally good people who just made a slip-up, they respond entirely differently. Here's an exact script you can use to empower yourself and your kids. You are a kind person, but slamming that door isn't kind. Let's try that again, quietly. Do you see what happened there? You affirmed their identity, they are a kind person, but you clearly corrected the behavior of slamming the door. Reminding a child that they are fundamentally good actually empowers them to want to fix their mistakes on their own. Okay, but what happens during a total absolute meltdown? Section 4. Co-regulate before you discipline, the thermostat technique. Picture this, the screaming, the tears, the pure chaos where both you and your child are entirely trapped in this frantic fight-or-flight mode. We have to remember that kids absolutely cannot learn a lesson when their brains are on fire like that. So, how do we actually handle that? We take what we call a parent timeout. Follow these steps. First, pause. Second, take 3 deep breaths. And third, connect before you correct. Notice how much slower and quieter I'm speaking right now? This is exactly what we need to model in those heated moments. We literally have to bring our own energy down before we can even think about addressing the broken rule. Once you've paused, get right down on their eye level and validate those huge angry feelings.
Say something like, "You're really angry right now, and I get it. It's okay to feel angry, but it's not okay to throw toys." While you do this, make absolutely sure to keep your own voice low. Your calm presence acts as a thermostat for their chaotic emotions. The quieter you speak, the more your child actually has to calm themselves down just to hear what you're saying. It works like magic.
Now, once everyone is calm, we still have to address the behavior. Section 5. Logical consequences over punishments, teaching responsibility. Traditional punishments often just breed resentment and secrecy, while logical consequences actually teach real responsibility. Now, what's really interesting about this practical cheat sheet is how it handles real-life scenarios. Let's say the misbehavior is refusing to put away toys. Instead of threatening them, a logical consequence is simply that the toys take a break in the closet for a while. Or if they draw on the wall with crayons, instead of taking away dessert, which honestly has absolutely nothing to do with the wall, the logical consequence is they have to scrub the wall clean before they can go play. Let's really focus on the spilled drink example. If a child spills a drink, maybe even on purpose, our knee-jerk punitive instinct is usually to shout and banish them to their room. But look at the logical consequence quote here. "The juice spilled, let's clean it up together." You just hand them a cloth. This simple logical action builds connection and teaches responsibility, completely bypassing the need to shout and escalate things. As we near the end of our roadmap, we need a bit of a reality check. Section 6. Repairing after you stumble. The reality check. Listen, staying calm isn't about being totally perfect. You are going to lose your temper sometimes. That is human, and that is completely okay. When you do inevitably lose your temper, you can actually use it as a powerful confidence-building tool, just by repairing the relationship. Here is your vital script for that. "I was frustrated earlier, and I shouldn't have shouted. I'm sorry. Let's talk about this calmly now." Getting down on their level and using these exact words teaches them a truly beautiful lesson. Mistakes happen to everyone, even adults, but love and respect can always, always be rebuilt. We've covered a lot of ground today: connecting instead of controlling, encouraging effort, separating behavior from identity, regulating those big emotions, and using logical consequences. But it all really comes together in the repair. So I want to leave you with this provocative question to chew on. Are you ready to let your parenting mistakes become your child's greatest confidence-building tool? You've got the toolkit now. Try these strategies out today and just watch that mutual respect and confidence grow.